Welcome to the banks of the waters that shaped a civilization where human ingenuity meets the force of nature. Today, we delve into the history of how a river, the mighty Nile, played a pivotal role in building one of the most iconic wonders of the ancient world, the Great Pyramid of Giza. Imagine yourself on the banks of the Nile, the lifeblood of ancient Egypt, a source of life enabling one of history's most fascinating civilizations. Here, in this fertile river valley, was born the dream of building the grandest pyramid of all, a dream realized through the Nile's life force and waters. The Great Pyramid, built for the eternal pharaoh Khufu, is not just an engineering marvel. It's a testament to the deep bond between the Egyptian civilization and the Nile. Located on the Giza Plain, just kilometers from the river's bank, the pyramid stands as a beacon of antiquity, its construction fueled by the riches and resources the Nile abundantly provided. Prepare for a journey through time as we reveal how the Nile was not just a spectator, but an active participant in creating a legacy that endures to our day. Discover how the waters of this immortal river contributed to the transportation of materials, the sustenance of the workforce, and the realization of one of humanity's most extraordinary feats. In the desert's heart, an oasis of life weaves through sand and time, the Nile, the vital artery that nourished one of history's greatest civilizations. It's not just a river but the pulsing heartbeat of ancient Egypt, an inexhaustible source of life, prosperity, and inspiration. Imagine the Nile's banks thousands of years ago, alive with the activity of a people who, unlike any other, maximized every drop of its sacred waters. The Nile was more than just a water source, it was the backbone of agriculture, the foundation of trade, and the main transport route connecting Egypt from north to south. Every year, like a celestial clockwork, the Nile would flood, depositing a rich layer of silt on its banks. This annual miracle transformed a narrow strip of land into one of the most fertile breadbaskets of the ancient world, enabling the Egyptians to cultivate grains, vegetables, and fruits, thus sustaining a growing population and an expanding civilization. But the Nile was more than an agricultural river, it was a highway that connected Egypt to the world. Boats filled with stones, grains, textiles, and treasures sailed its waters, facilitating vibrant trade that brought riches and wonders from distant lands. It was also the road along which armies, diplomats, and messengers moved, weaving Egypt's web of political and cultural influence throughout antiquity. Thus, the Nile was much more than a natural resource to the ancient Egyptians. It was a deity, a gift, and a challenge. Its waters mirrored the universe, an eternal cycle of rebirth and regeneration that defined the Egyptian worldview. Without the Nile, there would be no ancient Egypt as we know it, with its pyramids, temples, or treasures. The Nile wasn't just a water artery, it was the artery of life, power, and eternity. Delving into the engineering behind the Great Pyramid of Giza unveils a fascinating chapter: the Nile's critical role in the planning and logistics of this monumental construction. This was not just an architectural project, it was a feat of coordination, planning, and human effort, with the Nile emerging as the vital artery. Imagine the colossal challenge of transporting millions of tons of stone and other materials across a vast desert. The solution? The Nile, a natural waterway winding through the heart of Egypt, became the central axis for moving vital resources for the pyramid's construction. During the annual flood, the Nile expanded its banks, allowing vessels to come closer to the construction site. The ingeniously designed ancient Egyptian barges sailed laden with limestone from Tura, granite from Aswan, and imported wood from Lebanon, essential for the pyramid's construction and the surrounding complex. Every stage of transportation was meticulously planned. Temporary canals were dug, creating direct routes from the river to the construction areas, minimizing the distance that workers had to drag the heavy blocks. This canal system not only showcases the ancient Egyptians' skill in manipulating their environment to their advantage, but also their ability to plan and execute large-scale engineering projects with astonishing precision. The planning and logistics went beyond just transportation. The Nile was also crucial for supplying food to thousands of workers. Thanks to agriculture sustained by the river's fertile waters, the workers had the necessary sustenance to keep the project moving forward, demonstrating a sophisticated understanding of resource management and labor logistics. Therefore, the Nile was not just a passive spectator in the construction of the Great Pyramid, it was an active participant, whose waters intertwined life, work, and innovation. This ancient river not only facilitated the logistics necessary to erect one of humanity's greatest monuments, but also nourished the civilization that achieved such a feat. As we unravel the mysteries of the Great Pyramid's construction, we encounter a logistical feat of almost unimaginable proportions: the transport of massive stone blocks across the Nile's waters. This process was not merely a demonstration of brute force, but of unparalleled precision, innovation, and ingenuity. Imagine the immense limestone and granite blocks, each weighing tons, meticulously extracted from distant quarries. Now, picture the colossal challenge of transporting them to the Giza Plateau. Enter the Grand Nile, the protagonist of an unprecedented logistical operation in ancient history. To facilitate the transport of the massive stone blocks, the ancient Egyptians constructed temporary canals and docks, engineering marvels that transformed the environment around them. During the Nile's annual floods, these canals filled with water, allowing loaded vessels to reach even closer to the construction site. This strategy significantly reduced the distance workers needed to drag the immense blocks to the pyramid's base. Once ashore at the temporary docks, each stone block was placed on large wooden sleds. These sleds were then dragged over paths of tree logs or a bed of smooth stones. Intriguingly, ancient inscriptions and paintings suggest water was used to facilitate this land transport, poured over the sand in front of the sleds, significantly reducing friction and allowing a few men to move tons of stone with remarkable efficiency. This process was not just a feat of physical strength, but a marvel of coordination and planning. Engineers, architects, and workers collaborated in sync, each playing a crucial role in the logistical chain that turned raw quarry material into architectural wonders in the desert. Therefore, the journey of each stone block, from the heart of the quarries to the peak of the Great Pyramid, stands as a testament to the indomitable spirit of the Egyptian civilization. Through rivers and deserts, the ancient Egyptians moved not just stones, they moved mountains, leaving behind not just a monument, but the story of boundless ambition and endless ingenuity. Behind the imposing stones of the Great Pyramid lies a tale of human labor, dedication, and the extraordinary resource management provided by the Nile, the lifeline for thousands of workers. The river enabled the pyramid's construction through material transport and played a crucial role in supplying food and water, essential for the sustainability of the vast workforce. Imagine the banks of the Nile, teeming with life, where the water flowed not just to quench thirst but also to irrigate fields. These fields, fertilized by the rich silt left by the annual floods, produced abundant harvests of grains, vegetables, and fruits essential for feeding the pyramid workers. Being close to the Nile meant that fresh food could be easily transported to the worksites, ensuring the workers received the necessary nutrition to meet the physical demands of construction. Moreover, the river's water was used not just for drinking but also in various construction stages, such as preparing mortar and cooling workers during the relentless heat months. This intricate food and water logistics highlighted the ancient Egyptians' advanced knowledge of management and planning. Near the construction site, large storages and warehouses were built where vast quantities of grains were kept, ready to be turned into bread, the workers' diet staple. Additionally, the river's proximity made it easy to bring in meat, fish, and poultry, enriching the diet and providing the nutritional variety necessary to maintain the workers' health and vigor. This system not only ensured proper nourishment but also demonstrated care and respect for the well-being of those dedicating their lives to building the pyramid. Thus, the Nile, in its magnificent generosity, was not just a transport route or a source of building materials. It was the life source pulsating at the heart of the monumental endeavor that is the Great Pyramid. Through its supply of water and food, it enabled an ancient civilization to achieve the unimaginable, reinforcing the notion that every stone of the pyramid ultimately rests upon the life-giving waters of the Nile. On the Nile's banks, a civilization and groundbreaking innovations were born, forever shaping engineering. In examining the construction techniques of the Great Pyramid, we find the Nile's waters were crucial not only for sustaining life but also as an indispensable tool in the building process itself. The ancient Egyptians' ingenuity is evident in how they utilized the Nile to overcome architectural challenges. One technique involved leveling the ground, a monumental task for constructing the Great Pyramid's perfectly flat base. They filled trenches carved into the bedrock with Nile water, using the water's surface as a reference to achieve precise leveling across the construction area. This method showcases their advanced understanding of engineering and construction principles. Moreover, within the vast construction site, the Nile water played a crucial role in transporting heavy stone blocks. The Egyptians devised an internal aquatic transportation system, creating canals that allowed small, stone-laden vessels to smoothly move to the precise installation sites, demonstrating their advanced vision in logistics and engineering. This innovative use of water reflects the Egyptians' deep understanding of their environment's physical properties and how to manipulate them to their advantage. Their ability to adapt and innovate, using the Nile as a construction tool, not only facilitated the creation of the Great Pyramid but also set standards for future engineering projects worldwide. These techniques, born at the intersection of need and the availability of natural resources, showcase a symbiotic relationship between the Nile River and the ancient Egyptians. The river was more than a source of life, it was a vein of innovation running through the heart of Egypt, propelling the advancement of civilization. Thus, as we marvel at the magnificence of the Great Pyramid, we're reminded that each stone, each line, and each angle reflect not just human genius but also the essence of a river that shaped a civilization. The Nile, with its life-giving waters, was a driving force for innovation, an essential element that enabled the ancient Egyptians to achieve the unimaginable. As the sun sets over the Nile, We reflect on the enduring legacy of this majestic river and its indelible role in the history of the Great Pyramid. The Nile's significance extended beyond the pyramid's construction. It also plays a part in its preservation and the ongoing fascination it inspires worldwide. From the transportation of materials to sustaining the workforce, the Nile was at the heart of the Great Pyramid's construction. Its contribution extends further, intertwining with Egypt's identity and preserving its greatest treasure. The waters nurturing the lands around the pyramid allowed a civilization capable of such an architectural feat to flourish. The Nile not only enabled the pyramid's construction, it also played a part in preserving the Great Pyramid through the centuries, facilitating the arrival of explorers, scholars, and tourists eager to unravel its mysteries. Each wave of the Nile, as it touches the shores near Giza, seems to narrate stories of those who came before, bridging past and present in the quest for understanding. Today, the Nile remains a vital source of inspiration and study regarding the Great Pyramid. The river's presence draws researchers from around the globe, fueling ongoing interest in the pyramid and the techniques used in its construction. Thus, the Nile is not just a silent witness to history, it is an active storyteller, whose waters narrate the epic tale of one of humanity's most extraordinary creations. Thus, as we reflect on the legacy of the Great Pyramid, we recognize the Nile not merely as a natural resource but as an inseparable companion in the Egyptian civilization's journey. Its eternal flow reminds us that humanity can achieve wonders when it harmonizes its aspirations with the forces of nature. The Nile and the Great Pyramid together stand as symbols of what is possible when human ingenuity and natural generosity meet. And so, through the waters of time, the Nile tells us the story not only of a civilization but of humanity's own capacity to create wonders. The Great Pyramid of Giza, a monument that defies the millennia, is a testament to ingenuity, dedication, and the profound interaction between humans and the natural environment. As we reflect on the crucial role of the Nile in the construction of this ancient marvel, we are reminded that every stone block, every engineering technique, and every drop of sweat from the workers were sustained by the gifts of this majestic river. The Nile was not just a resource. It was the source of life that enabled the achievement of one of the greatest feats of ancient engineering. This journey through time and space reveals the eternal interconnectedness between natural resources and human accomplishments. The story of the Great Pyramid and the Nile is a powerful reminder that humanity's great achievements are often the result of harmony with nature, a symbiosis that can lead to the birth of unimaginable wonders. May the history of the Nile and the Great Pyramid inspire each of us to recognize and respect the gifts of nature that surround us, and to realize that when we work in harmony with the environment, we are capable of transcending our limitations and leaving a lasting legacy for future generations.